Good morning, everybody. Today, I would invite you to join me from bed. I want to make a video today about how frustrating it is when you feel like you're not getting the help that you need. And sometimes you don't even know what kind of help you need, and that's part of the frustration. And this isn't meant to directly impact anybody in a positive or a negative way, as all of my videos are. I would really just hope that someone else out there feels the same way, because we live in a really big world, and so I believe somewhere within my being that someone out there can resonate with this, and that's why I'm sharing. So please know that I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy. I'm trying to be maybe an advocate. I don't know exactly what my intention is for this, but I just want to talk about what I've been going through without going into too much detail. And so I woke up this morning and I just really felt like, wow, everything that everyone has been referring to me in terms of books or podcasts or videos to watch that have to do with spirituality or have to do with mental health haven't hit home. For some reason, the things that used to resonate with me don't anymore. I'm also going through a lot of spring cleaning, as I do every year, and I'm purging a lot of things that no longer serve me, be that clothes, be that books. I'm looking to part with some of my old angel cards, and it's not because there's anything wrong with them necessarily, it's just that they've served their purpose for me, and that's okay, and I'm ready to let stuff go. And this is all a very positive thing, right? Like, I'm describing this, and as I'm talking, it's like, okay, well, that's not a bad thing. I think it can become really lonely and isolating because people aren't necessarily moving with you through your life. And that's really hard because humans just want connection. They just want to feel understood. I love how I'm talking about humans objectively as if I'm not one, but I am one. And as humans, we need to feel like we are understood and that we're loved and that we're not alone. And for my life, my entire life, I have felt, for the most part, very isolated, very misunderstood, and very much not on the same path that most people are, especially within my age range. And I don't know exactly why that is. That could partly just be because of my life circumstances, but it's this whole nature versus nurture thing, because I think I came into this world being a very old soul, and I came here and I'm like, yeah, you don't need to show me the ropes, I already know, like I've been here, done that kind of thing. So my soul's experienced a lot of things, and I've always been very mature for my age and quite wise, and that's who I am. When you talk about nature, I guess, and when you talk about nurture, I grew up with a younger sibling who has autism and who also has diabetes and who also almost died in a coma. And there have been multiple challenges over the years with my sibling, and I don't blame my sibling. However, I am at a point in my life now where I'm finally allowing myself to process those traumas that affected me that I never got to process fully. And it's impacting every single area of my life, because in my most intimate relationships, whether that be with a romantic partner or whether that be with my family, it affects everything. It even affects my career, honestly, because I've lived most of my life, probably over 20 years, of being suppressed and feeling depressed and just repressing emotions. And it's funny because I'm an artist, I'm a singer-songwriter, and so the biggest part of my purpose slash calling slash job is to be vulnerable and authentic, to create for myself, to heal myself, and in the process share it with others and help others to heal as well. And that's great. And I still very much feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. But I have reached this point now where I've spent at least the past 10 years honing my craft, singing a certain kind of music with my guitar, writing about certain things that are not overly deep. And it's not to say that it wasn't authentic, because at the time it very much was. However, I've reached this point in every aspect of my life right now where I'm just so not satisfied, because I think I just need to go deeper when it comes to writing music, when it comes to healing. I've been in therapy for 3 months. This is the first time I've ever gone to a therapist, and it's been extremely helpful, but it's hard work. And I think I'm feeling frustrated because sometimes in the spiritual community, things can become like light and fluffy and airy fairy. And I never had an issue with like fairies or angels or anything like that. And that's what resonated with me over the past 7 to 10 years. I was very happy with doing meditations and doing angel card readings and making jewelry out of gemstones and running workshops and doing that kind of thing. And for some reason that stuff like just doesn't even appeal to me at all anymore. And so it can really make me question myself. And it's like, am I really in a like super dark place that I'm just pushing out everything that is of the light? But I really don't think it's necessarily that way. I think I'm really tapping into some deep traumas. And then the reality is that as much as there may be healing tools that will help or maybe aid in some way, it doesn't fix the problem. It doesn't completely heal the trauma. It doesn't matter how many angel card readings I do. It doesn't matter how many books I read or how many TED Talks I watch or how many crystals I have out and how many candles I light. I'm still having to feel darkness. I'm still having to process trauma. I'm still having to cry. I'm still having to be angry. And that's okay. And that's part of the journey. And maybe that's what this message is all about for myself and for other people right now. Is that you don't have to cover it up. Because I think sometimes, like, don't get me wrong, going to yoga and having a spiritual practice is so good for you. And it's not necessarily always masking trauma, but sometimes it is. Like, sometimes I feel like it's meant to be that way. For me, I just don't think I was ready. I had flashbacks, like I'm dealing with PTSD from many situations, and it's very real. And I've had flashbacks, not just recently, but I've had flashbacks from traumatic events probably for the majority of my life, especially the past 5 years. Like, things have really gotten triggered for me. So I've been aware, very self-aware of what my traumas and triggers are, but I wasn't necessarily in a place where I was ready to go deal with it. And that's okay. And I think that's part of the journey. And so I think at the time when I first became aware of traumas and triggers, to help me at the time, I did angel card readings and all the things that I just mentioned, and it helped me. But at this point, it doesn't help me anymore, because there's nothing that I don't know. For the most part, and I'm not saying that I know everything, because I certainly don't. We're always going to be growing and evolving and learning about ourselves and uncovering and discovering new things about ourselves, about life, about other people, about past traumas, about you name it. We're always growing and evolving, and that's this thing called life. However, things just sometimes have their time and place. And I think for me, I'm hitting a wall because a lot of places that I go to for answers and a lot of these resources are just giving me the same answers that I already know inside. It seems like every book I read or every card that I pull or everyone I talk to means well, and I think everyone's trying to suggest things to me like, have you read this book, and what about this book, and have you done this? And it's like, I'm feeling a little bit fed up with it, because it's like I've been there, done that, I'm ready to part with a lot of my books and angel cards that I've had for almost 10 years because their messages aren't ringing true for me right now, and I don't think they will. And for me, I've always done things from my intuition and gut instinct, and I've always bought angel cards that I felt drawn to, and I just don't feel drawn to them anymore. So that's not to say that they won't serve a purpose for someone else, which is why I'm looking to either sell them or just to donate them somewhere where they could be of better use and they can be of service to somebody. Just because it's not for me anymore doesn't mean it's not for someone else. But I think for me, again, I'm just reaching this point where I can't unsee things. I can't unlearn things. I can't unfeel things. And that's really a blessing in disguise, I suppose. But it's really difficult. And I kind of feel like people don't understand what the hell I'm going through right now. And I'm going through just a really weird transition on every level, personally, professionally, geographically. I'm just really done with the old. Like, even in terms of my whole entire province, like, I have grown here. I've lived in multiple cities. I've traveled to multiple cities. I've performed in multiple cities. I've met multiple people from multiple cities. And I just don't feel like it's home to me anymore. So I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I hope someone out there can, because it's really frustrating to feel like nothing's resonating anymore that used to resonate. And I think it's a little scary because it makes you question yourself, and it makes you question if anything will ever resonate with you ever again. And I think the obvious answer is that things will resonate, but they're going to be different. Like I said, I'm going through my wardrobe, I'm going through my books, I'm going through my relationships. The most important people, the most outstanding soulmates that I've had in my life have left. I am not drawn to the same spiritual tools that used to help me. I'm not drawn to writing the same kind of folk pop music anymore. I'm not drawn to the same clothing. Like, everything is changing on every level for me. And it's hard, especially because people that would have known me in my past or who have just followed me on social media may not resonate with me anymore, because I don't resonate with a lot of things that I used to. And I think I just have to get to this point where I feel okay with that, and I can come to this place of acceptance. And again, it's not that I haven't been authentic to who I truly am all along, because I feel like I was always trying to be who I was in the moment. But I've realized recently that who I was in the moment was still very conditioned. She was a different person than I am right now, and she'll be very different from the person that I'm becoming in the future. And again, it's not that she wasn't a good person, but she was just like really conditioned and really molded to be one way, to be quiet, to not make any ruckus, to not cause anyone problems, to not speak out about a lot of different issues. She was trained to be that way. She was trained to put everyone first and herself last. And she was trying to heal through trauma, but she wasn't ready and she didn't know how. And so now I'm unbecoming all these things that I guess truly weren't me. They were just parts of me, and they were parts of me that I thought I had to be. I thought I had to be tight-lipped. And again, it's this whole nature versus nurture thing, because I think I'm carrying a lot of this from past lives as well, where, I could be carrying this from like my grandmothers and great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers, where they stayed in toxic situations for a long time because you had to survive. They stayed in relationships that were abusive. they felt like they had to be tight-lipped. And I've always been drawn to like a lot of retro fashion and anything from the 1920s to the 1950s. And during those years, it was hard for women. It was hard. And I feel like I almost lived through that time, which is weird to say. But I've lived a lot of my life being like that, being suppressed and going along with the status quo and doing what's best for the family and being a caretaker and being a nurturer, but abandoning myself. And I feel like I'm probably one of the first people in my family. This is going to be the first generation to break all those molds, to heal those traumas. And it's not easy work. And so I don't know. I don't really have a point to this video today. I just wanted to be honest about what I'm going through and hope that it would resonate with someone out there, because the work I'm going through right now is work. It's hard. It's a journey. It's a process of undoing and unbecoming and becoming something new. I'm very much going through a death and rebirth. And I'm sorry if I'm annoyed with you trying to help. Sometimes I just don't resonate with things anymore. And so I know that people mean well, and I guess I need to get to a better state of like being gracious. And I typically am very gracious, but I am not right now. And I feel a bit bad about it, but I guess the thing is nobody really knows what's best for me except for me. And people can try to help and that's great. And I appreciate suggestions and books and podcasts and all that stuff, but I don't think I need that right now. I don't think I need to be bombarded with spiritual jargon that I've already been ingesting for the past 10 years, because it's nothing new. It's nothing I haven't read before. It's nothing that I don't know within my soul. I think sometimes we get to this kind of point where we just need to trust ourselves and trust our journey and trust in the divine, trust in the universe, trust in God, and trust that our, higher self and our angels, whoever, will guide us. Like, I don't feel drawn to anything outside of that right now. And that's weird for me, because I typically am someone that does seek things from the outside, but I think right now I'm just going through this time where I'm not. And maybe that's okay. So anyways, I'm going to have my morning coffee. I hope everyone has a great day. And I hope that, maybe this helps you understand yourself or your spiritual journey, or helps you understand where I'm at, if that concerns you. And I guess I'll check in with you guys soon. I would like to do some videos about stuff I've been going through in therapy, about trauma and PTSD and that kind of stuff. So maybe I'll do that one day. All right, take care.